What's going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a great day. It's another beautiful day here in Tennessee, as not always, but at least recently. I'm going to talk about a company that I actually didn't even know existed. It's a sort of a chop shop for watches, if you will. It's a bespoke watch company that uses your personal watch to create a one-off piece unique for your collection. So if that sounds good to you, stick around. We'll be right back. In the background, you can see I do have one of my road bikes. I have a number of mountain bikes, number of road bikes. Got into cycling years and years and years ago, right before mountain biking became part of an Olympic sport. And shortly thereafter, I got into road cycling, and Lance Armstrong won the Tour de France. Went on to win 7 times and then retired. Came back, finished 3rd and I think 5th, and then retired again, and then of course became embattled. Was convicted of some doping and was stripped of all 7 of those titles. I was actually watching cycling races that were being replayed on YouTube. This popped up in between, and yeah, thought it would be a good company to look at here, because having delved into the company, I did a podcast on it. It's a fantastic design company. So let's get into it.
For any kid on any bike, just leaving the house, right, and turning the corner and another corner, and then you're alone. That was the beginning of what freedom really felt like.
Like I said, I was watching cycling videos.
Most of the world knows both parts of it. They know the good times and they know the bad times. It doesn't change the fact that I have those memories from the good times.
I really thought this was going to be a cycling commercial when I first watched it.
The downfall was unexpected. This is something that nobody can prepare for. The true test.
It was very expected.
As a man who has to reinvent his life. Most of the world has been able to see all of my life. I loved this idea of taking a watch and opening up everything and being able to see everything. In my sport, heart rate is critical. Early days, if you wanted to check your pulse, you needed to tell time. And then, of course, the history.
I remember those days.
A color that was a big part of my life for a long time. I have had a complicated life and a complicated history. But
that's an understatement.
The story's over. All of those mistakes are still mistakes, but they still got me here. I think the best is just living that greater, fuller, purpose-driven life.
So, okay, like I said, I thought that was going to be a bike commercial or a commercial for his podcast or whatever, and it turned out to be a advertisement for Artisan De Geneve. So I want to go over and look at their website. The first thing that comes up is the Rusty. Now, this is a watch you may have seen if you follow Hodinkee. You're going to see the Rusty. It's a aged dial that's sort of done in a burnt amber, which is really cool, and we'll get into it in a second. But I want to talk about Artisan D Geneve real quick. They are, of course, a Switzerland-based company. They do bespoke watches. They have a warning label on their website saying they are not associated with Rolex, Omega, Patek, or any watches within their website, that these are pre-owned pieces that they have customized into one-off bespoke pieces. Just how you would take your car to a custom automotive interior or exterior shop or engine shop or audio shop and have it customized. Same thing. They say that they are a watchmaking workshop based in Geneva, Switzerland, and we offer an exclusive service of watch modification for private customers. Our modifications are made exclusively upon request in our workshops in Switzerland by independent and highly skilled craftsmen. Yeah, basically what I just said. It's a custom one-off shop for watches. Now, this is not the only company doing this, but I would argue that they may be the best. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Armstrong, which is the watch that Lance Armstrong was just talking about that he commissioned. They say Lance Armstrong's life, the cycling legend, has revolved around a constant battle, a race against time, a race against himself. Each challenge is a chance to prove himself and to be reborn. Lance asked us to return to the origins of watchmaking by blending forgotten codes, a pulsation dial, and manual winding with modern design to create his unique customization, a true rebirth. So we're talking a manual wind watch, we're talking a pulsation dial, something you don't see very often. And coming from the old era of cycling, yeah, you needed a watch to check your pulse, to check your heart rate, because heart rate monitors really didn't exist. Polar was really the first ones. They were decently accurate, they were large, they were awkward, but quite frankly, just, pulse and a watch. That's really all you needed. So you have a deconstructed pulse dial. They say it's a skeletonized dial that sports a new cutout for 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So they've changed the cutouts at 3 and 6 for those dual counters. The counters have white and yellow decals, as well as specialized timer for the pulsation functionality. So they've completely changed the 3 and 6 subdial. They've gotten rid of the 9 o'clock subdial completely. Start, stop, and reset in yellow on a deep black PVD coating. And then the crown has a deep black PVD coating with a yellow band wrapped around it. Very reminiscent of those yellow Livestrong bands you would see everywhere in the 2000s. And then you have what they're calling a Thunder chrono hand. This may be a familiar hand to those Rolex fanatics. This hand has been used on another Rolex. The color's new, but the shape is not. But at any rate, they say the watch's second hand is in the shape of a lightning bolt, enhancing the open work anthracite movement, and we're going to talk about that movement. They're using a bespoke rubber strap made by Rubber B. If you've ever watched anything from Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, or any of his channels, all his watches are on Rubber B, red Rubber B straps. This one, jet black rubber with a yellow line down the center, made to represent those long highway miles. And it does look like a black top with a solid yellow line down the center. They're calling the movement a reference LAM-SK4130. They have done a skeletonized dial with display, so you can see the movement. Display case back on the back, so you can see the movement. They've removed any of the automatic winding functionality. So when you look at this movement from the back, and any functionality of that 6 or 9 o'clock subdial. So when you look at this movement from the back especially, you have this beautiful detailed movement on the right, and then on the left you have this gaping empty blackness. And it sort of signifies Lance Armstrong's life. I picked up on that immediately. You have this emptiness, and then you have this fullness, and they kind of meet in the middle of this watch. So really fascinating. Something I haven't seen in watchmaking or on another piece. They say they entirely skeletonized his 4130 caliber. The movement is cut, sandblasted, and beveled by hand. The chronograph bridge essential detail bears a matte black finish. The power reserve is identical to the original 78-hour caliber. If we go and look at the Rusty, which is the one you guys are probably much more familiar with. I talked about it on the podcast as well. He says, I've always been fascinated with the footprint of time on objects and by the sentimental value that they bring us. I've worn the same watch for several years, so I contacted Artisans de Geneve to add a special touch, a time-worn feel that would make it even more unique. Something that looked like the watch my grandfather wore, a vintage model with an oxidized dial. And the specifications on this one is a base Rolex 116520 with your Bakelite bezel. They have oxidized this dial for 10 weeks of aging. And then the hands have been refined and they've added a backlight of Luminova. So instead of the Luminova on the top, it's backlit, which is really cool. I'd love to see that in actuality. The pushers are mill gray. The rotor is a gold 21 karat with Coached in Geneve, and actually some of the screws for the movement have been replaced with 21 karat gold screws. The movement is a 4130 artisanal finishing movement that has hand beveling and Coached in Geneve. And then the back, they've used a display case back in full sapphire. You can see sort of the aging process from the silver rhodium finish to sort of a yellow moon finish to this sort of coffee stain finish. Well, kind of harkens to the colors of fall if we just look at this beautiful bezel, which is sort of a brown Bakelite with sort of honey decals. And then the oxidized subdials, those rhodium plated subdials have now turned to sort of a fall color, a cream color of brown, which is really, really beautiful. And then they've changed the pushers to the mill gray to add a bygone touch, as they say. Number of other watches done in the line. They've got 20 or 30 something on their website. There's no prices, of course, because these are bespoke pieces. So, of course, the original owners probably don't want that advertised. I'm assuming and pretty much going to stake everything I have on the fact that they are going to be exorbitantly expensive. But it's what you get when you pay for a bespoke one-off watch. I mean, it's one in the world. I will touch on one other one really quickly. It's Spike Lee's Cool Hand Brooklyn Challenge. It's how I actually first came to know about this company and didn't even realize it. This came out a number of years ago. It was a Spike Lee piece. It's a Rolex Daytona base 116520 done in stainless steel that they've sort of customized aesthetically and some of the movements as well. It's just, it's okay. They did add a 22 karat gold rotor that's also treated in blue for the movement. They did add a transparent display case back in sapphire that is individually engraved. Like I said, I wasn't completely in love with it. It was interesting. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I moved on with my life. So, but it is on the website and you can find it on YouTube in a number of places. It's pretty cool, I guess. It's, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan. But at any rate, it's how I first came to know about the company without even realizing it. And then came to know them more extensively via the Lance Armstrong video. And then just recently they've done the Rusty that's all over the internet in a number of watch blogs and forums. So I wanted to touch on the company, see what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Check out these watches. Which one's your favorite? Which one's your least favorite? What do you think they're charging? Because I didn't reach out. I don't know. I would assume it's a lot, but super, super cool. They don't just do Rolex. I did sort of highlight 3 Rolexes. They've done a number of other watches as well, but I thought those 3 Rolexes were sort of the epitome of what they do. So I wanted to show you those guys. So At any rate, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for staying till the end. I appreciate you guys. We'll just see you next time. Peace.